It's Thursday, Friday Eve.
Yes.
It's been a busy show. We brought you guys breaking news, I believe, in the 5 a.m. hour on Maryland Congressman Elijah Cummings passing away. He, according to the release that I saw on social media from Baltimore, he passed away around 2:45 this morning.
Yeah, he had a lot of complications from health problems over the many years. But, you know, a big
68
spokesman for the state of Maryland and for Baltimore, because Baltimore has had a lot of bad press lately. He certainly stood up for that city, and there's a lot of great things for our country as a sad situation.
Very sad.
He's only 68 years old.
I know. Unfortunately, like, you always see in these times, which I guess is the good thing to come, the unity on both sides, just for thanking somebody for serving, for so many years as he did. And a
Dedicated to serving people.
A lot of people were saying that on social media. Rest in power was one of the top trending hashtags, which I thought was interesting. Instead of rest in peace, rest in power.
Yeah, he spoke vociferously. I mean, you knew when he was there. He was
such a
strong
great
believer.
speaker.
Yeah, he was.
Commanding presence. And I saw that one of our first tweets that I saw on social media was from Joe Scarborough with MSNBC, that he married Joe and Mika.
Wow.
And that
I
didn't know that either. And so that was something, I love to see the personal things that we didn't know about him being shared in their stories.
There'll be a lot more folks who may tune in to today's show. They'll have a big coverage of that this morning.
Oh, absolutely. So we'll continue to follow the very latest, but they just cited complications of long-standing health issues. So one of the other kind of convoluted stories that we had this morning that we were breaking down was, do you guys agree with prisoners being in solitary confinement? Larry, were you thinking things during my hits at all about that story?
Yeah, I mean, the solitary confinement, I mean, you can look at it as some people may think of that as cruelty.
Right.
And because they do it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about our penal system is, there's so many problems with it. And we discussed this. Should it just be punishment, or should it be rehabilitation? If it's rehabilitation, 24-hour confinement like that, or long
doesn't help, right?
Doesn't help at all. But I mean, you look at the type of crime. Maybe it should be matched with the type of crime. Because there are some crimes where you go, these people should never ever be allowed in society. And so maybe solitary confinement is the best thing. Maybe it's safer for them to be solitary confined. It's a big debate that'll go on. And I think there's so many issues with our penal system, with our prisons, the overcrowding. Why are they there? Why are they kept so long? Who's released? Who's not released? I mean, this is an ongoing issue that will take forever. We don't have enough, employees in our prisons, enough guards.
Oh my gosh, no, not even close, right?
So many major problems in our country with the prisons.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would need to be case-by-case situation, depending on what that person was charged with. But obviously, no one wants that. But if that's what it's going to take to, I guess,
ensure the safety
of the other people that are in prison, then that's
and also their safety as well. That's a lot of times they're confined because of their safety, because the threats that they get. I mean, if you have some of the crimes, they are definitely threatened when they go into a prison.
And just a little backstory as to why we covered this this morning. Just yesterday, there was a class action lawsuit that was filed on behalf of a prisoners activist group. And so they are representing, I believe, just 4 prisoners. And they kind of break down how long they've been incarcerated, what their sentence, how long their sentence is, and how long they've been in solitary confinement. I know I saw one of them has been incarcerated for 13 years, according to the lawsuit, and they've been in solitary confinement for more than 12 years.
Wow.
I mean, that would just, wow.
12 years.
47% of our folks are saying
yes, too. And a lot of people are saying case by case as well. The only thing that made covering this in such a brief amount of time this morning on Wake Up Charlotte difficult was because we don't know exactly what these prisoners that are in this lawsuit did to
I don't know. Honestly, the reason I haven't been saying anything, I don't know enough about this. I don't just want to spout my opinion on something. I don't know really anything about this. Is it dark? Is it like?
Well, I mean, it's a cell. It's a cell. I mean, if you've ever seen one, have you?
Did you say it was smaller than a parking
back in the day, we all visited a prison here many years ago, and I mean, it's what you have is just a bed, like just a plain bed, a sheet cover on it, an open toilet. It's very small,
So, but they have lights and they have
8 by 16. Yeah, you have a light, and that's it. I mean, you're in there, bare necessities, and they serve you a meal through a slide in the door. I mean, it's a lot of people may call that very cruel punishment, But then, you know,
But you're in prison. But then again,
why are you in prison? You do the crime, you do the time. But I'm not sure if solitary confinement does anything to rehabilitate or make that a better prisoner.
All I have to say is this: if someone, if my family member was murdered, say by someone, and they're in solitary, I don't care one bit.
No, I mean,
I just think that it depends on who you are. It depends case by case. I think, you know, you have compassion for people just in general, but at the same time, are these people in prison for life?
This is debatable, like the death penalty.
Right.
Is debatable. I mean, a lot of people are for and against. I mean, this is something that's so subjective. You would have.
And
to
again,
look
is this someone
you would
who
have to look at that individual prisoner to see why? But I'm telling you, it's so those cells are so small. Talk about claustrophobia. They say it's claustrophobic just to be confined in a prison anyway. But then you put into a solitary situation.
Okay, but people are in prison for a reason, right?
I know that. I'm not saying. I'm not saying you are. If you're in prison, you're in prison. But then on top of that, are you put into solitary confinement in addition?
I guess my question.
Confinement into a cell with another inmate.
I mean, this whole thing is a philosophical issue about what you do with people who do crimes. But are you in prison for life? Or again, your question, your whole thing is about, and I agree, if we're going to be releasing these people into society,
one of these,
you can't put them in something like that where it makes them worse.
One of the people in this lawsuit is supposed to be released, according to the lawsuit, in 2022.
And has been in confinement for.
I don't know if it was the exact same person that was.
See, this is why we don't know enough about this.
I have it on my phone.
I know, but I'm just saying in general, I don't feel like we know the specifics, and we don't know enough about each of these cases to really talk
I'm not
about
sure.
it.
I think the only people who really know are those prisoners
and the lawyers
involved. Well, the lawyers and those folks who work in the prisons.
Right.
I mean, we're all pretty much naive to the situation.
Yeah, because
I really think that, you know, if people, especially young people, had a chance to go into a prison and see,
they might not ever want to do bad things.
You may think twice.
Yeah.
You may think twice because
I've never witnessed it or even have a family member or friend who I guess know who's ever been in that situation. So it's hard to really talk about it.
Well, I mean, having known, over the years, people who've been in prison, served and gotten out of prison, some still in prison. I mean, it is. I mean, if you do the crime, you do the time. But I tell you what, they're not good. They're not good places to be.
Yeah. I think in general, even solitary confinement or otherwise, being in prison is not. It doesn't make people better. Well, think about it. You are in a prison with other people who are in prison because they did bad things. Yeah. So it's a bunch of bad people together.
And I think it's prison by prison. There are prisons where there are rehabilitative efforts, where they have jobs, they get education. Yeah. There are prisoners who become lawyers and teachers and
no,
whatever.
Of course, I'm not saying if you go to prison you're bad.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you cannot be a bad person and do something really stupid or commit a crime that you're not thinking about or something happens in the heat of the moment, whatever, and not be a bad person. But I think if you're going to be released out into society, we should do whatever we can as a society to make sure that people come out better instead of
because quite
worse.
often we report it every week where someone has committed a crime, they're put into jail, put in prison, they get out, and they get out, and then they commit the same crime
to go right back. And I think
repeat offenders.
That brings up something that I don't know the answer to this, and I don't know if you guys know the answer to this. If people, when they go into solitary confinement and they immediately get out, like, do they go through certain, I guess, therapies? I mean, I don't know if that would change
there's no
someone.
therapy. No, they don't. They're
but
not
just think of. I mean, I'm just thinking of, like, if putting myself in that example, like, I feel like you're isolated. You know,
but oftentimes people are put in solitary confinement for their own protection. Like if you've any sort of crime against a child. Those people are not put into general population because they'll be killed.
How will that change that person once they get out into the public, once they have been in solitary confinement?
You are
law enforcement and you're put into prison, and this happens all the time. They're put into solitary
to protect them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they went into, I mean, there have been tons of studies done over the many decades about the psychology behind what it does to you.
I don't think anyone would agree that being put into a little box, a little room
be good for your
by yourself
health.
Is good for mental health. That's not
There's the psychology right there.
Yeah. But I also think, my thought on this is, would I rather know that I'm safe, or would I rather be in general population and knowing that I could be hurt at any moment, or
We're getting a lot of comments. So Sharon is saying,
I don't know what's worse.
Sharon says there are a lot of studies that show lack of sunlight and contact with people is damaging to their brain and their personality. Tonio is saying, I thought confinement was for a short period of time, like a kid going into timeout. He didn't know it could be for years.
I didn't know it could be for years either. I thought it was but again, if it's for your own protection, that's your cell.
Daniel is voting case by case, saying that years on years would be uncalled for. It should be controlled. And Walter is saying you are not put in solitary confinement for good behavior. There's a reason you're there.
Anyway,
And
the
there's
debate,
no
that debate can
rehabilitation.
go on and on. Yeah. So let's
Next.
Go on and on. Yes.
That's what Larry's
Tough one
saying.
right there. Yeah.
Well, then this story is much lighter, so maybe
Good.
you'll be happy about it.
Yes.
Cooking fails. I think we have Ben's poll, but these are the top mistakes that are made in the kitchen, and a lot of people have been sending us funny gifs on social media. Burning food is number 1. Burning a pan is number 2. Letting a pot boil over is number 3. Setting off the smoke detector, and then using too much salt.
What about not using enough salt? I think there's some people who do that. They have no salt in there, although I don't like to add salt in it.
I do hate when I burn food, but I'll still eat it.
Do you
if
burn food a lot?
I don't burn food a lot, but there are some times, and this is obviously not good, and I am definitely getting better at it, but sometimes I do try to multitask while I'm cooking. I'm cleaning, or I'm just doing other things, and I'll forget, and that's not good, and it's not safe. And we've done many stories on
And she doesn't condone it.
unattended cooking, and I do not condone it, but I have done it, and it does suck, not only for my safety, but then obviously for my food too.
Yeah,
But
and
I'm
your
still
stomach.
gonna eat it. I'm still gonna eat it.
Ruby is serious, which you don't. Well, I think you know this
Yeah.
by now. Ruby is serious about her food.
She's
I'm
still going to
very
eat it
serious.
if it's burned. I'm throwing it away.
I cooked it. I bought it.
And she's
what if I
hungry.
don't have anything else
You're hungry.
at that moment?
Wait, is it like burnt to a crisp?
No, like for example, bacon. Like I technically don't like burnt bacon, but I will
love
still
burnt
eat the
bacon.
burnt bacon.
Wait, you are telling me that you leave bacon unattended? Ruby, do you know how dangerous that is?
No, you keep it on
the
low.
oven?
Don't keep it on high.
I put my bacon in the oven.
Oh, I don't do the
And
oven.
then I leave.
No. What
kitchen.
An oven is different from a pan.
Yeah, but I.
And then you
will-
walk away?
Yeah, if I need to go do something really
No,
quickly, and
Ruby.
but I just said this is not safe, and this is something that
Don't do it
I will
anymore.
not condone. But it's happened. I feel like everybody has had something in the kitchen
Yes.
where it happens. We're human.
Yeah.
it's not safe.
What if Edison's barking upstairs? You're not going to
First of all, Edison doesn't bark. And secondly, no, I will take the pan off the flame. You don't leave
But
it.
obviously, I don't have a
In the
flame.
rare event that she's
I mean, it
making
doesn't
You-
matter. but
I don't
at
have
the
a flame
day-
either. I have an electric stove. I'm saying I take it off the heat.
At the end of the day, I've done it.
I'm just saying,
still gonna
don't
eat
do it again.
And it's not safe.
I want to
And
tell you
I'm
guys.
learning.
I want to tell you about the biggest fail.
Don't
I've
do
ever
it
seen.
again. I don't want you to burn down your
Cooking
house.
something. This
Was
goes
it here?
back. This goes back in time. Back
Oh, no.
When microwaves first came out.
Someone put metal.
Okay, so a friend of mine in radio got a ham biscuit. So no one knew about timing. So he put it in, and he went, 60. Well, went away.
60 minutes?
He went away and to his job, what he was doing at the radio station. I came out of the studio, and I saw black smoke coming out of our kitchen.
Gosh.
We ran in there, and he had put it on 60 minutes.
No.
It
A
was
biscuit.
it was a piece of charcoal. It was burnt. The fire department was coming into the station because they saw all the smoke alarms.
Wait,
and
where was
everything.
this at?
At Big Waves Radio here in Charlotte.
Well,
Many years ago.
there was big smoke.
Back in the
There are bugs all over the place right now.
Microwaves in the early 70s when they
Ew.
first started becoming, people started getting them.
So he was like 60
Well, it
seconds.
must be 60 seconds, 60,
Wow.
and 60 minutes, an
I-
hour.
I was going to say burning popcorn because whenever I was like 12, I would babysit for this family, and they had 4 kids, and they were all under the age of 5, so I don't know how they trusted
When you were
me.
12?
Yes.
They should not have trusted you,
I know.
sorry.
I mean, I grew
You're a
up with lot of
kid
kids.
yourself.
Yes, I literally was watching a ton of kids, and I remember
That's
there were
funny.
2 that couldn't even walk, but I think they were asleep, and the other 2 were watching a movie, and I said, okay, I'm going to go make some popcorn. So I put the popcorn in the microwave, and you know how they have the popcorn button?
Yeah.
So I hit it. And then I left because it puts it on the 2.5, 3 minutes. Well, anyway, I hear the kid, and he's like, "There's a fire in the house!"
Oh my God.
And he's like starting to grow crazy, and I'm immediately starting to freak out. Like, what? Oh my
And you're
gosh.
12.
And I'm 12. And so
Meanwhile-
the kids start screaming, "Stop, drop, and roll, everybody! Stop, drop, and roll!" And they're like opening the doors, and I literally had like 2 kids.
What was happening?
I burnt the popcorn in the
So was
microwave.
it a lot of smoke? Did you see?
I guess
fire?
that, I think it was a new microwave, and it was so powerful that 2 minutes actually burnt it, or 3 minutes
That
burnt
can
it.
happen. I mean, even that paper can catch on fire.
Thankfully, they
Yeah.
didn't charge me for the microwave, but they had to get a whole new one.
Well-
It was
Well, did
completely
y'all was it a fire?
ruined.
It probably
Well,
was.
yeah,
It
there was a
probably
fire in the
flames.
microwave. It didn't Have you
guys ever done that? I mean, I've
never
accidentally
done that, so
done
I
that
don't-
in a microwave. You put
Yeah,
something
with the
in
paper
there,
clip in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it when you have.
I did that by accident.
The plates that have like a little
Yes.
metal or something,
Yes.
and then you hear the.
get the flames going.
Okay, I have a story real quick. So when I was younger, I still love ramen noodles. I still love them. And so I was trying to be, I guess you can say, fast, as my mom used to say. And I was really hungry. I think she was doing something. And so I got a bowl and I put the ramen noodles in the bowl and I put them in the microwave, not thinking that you have to put water, because I never watched her do it. And I put it in the microwave thinking that
without water?
Without water.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what I was doing. And I kind of went to go sit on the couch. And the next thing I know, it just started like sparking in the microwave. The smoke was everywhere, and I definitely got in trouble. But I do remember that one moment. So
Because they started burning
I just
too.
knew I was about to be, grown and fix my own food. But no, that didn't happen. Yeah.
Never
Flaming
again.
ramen.
The
That's what
ramen
you
noodles
had.
were burnt.
Ramen flambe.
Did you eat them?
I did not eat
Okay.
them. Did not eat them.
Are we done?
Because you didn't pay for it.
I didn't. First of all, I didn't pay for it.
Let's go.
My
Now
nose
on
is in
to
a
the
corner.
countdown.
That's what.
And now on to weather.
Oh, weather.
Cold outside.
It is.
Yeah, it's cold. We finally got some of those chilly temperatures that a lot of people have been looking for with this, with clear skies.
Yeah, it feels like fall.
It does feel like it. Tomorrow morning, it's really going to be cold. Upper 30s to around 40. We'll hit 68 tomorrow. Over this weekend, I think Saturday, if you got some plans outside, should be okay. I think Sunday turns out to be rainy and even some heavy rains possible Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We got a couple days there where we could get several inches of rain.
Finally.
So, Lawrence,
Yes.
the leaf peeping will start this weekend.
Yes, this weekend, because what's going to happen tonight, happened this morning, and tomorrow morning with temperatures in the 30s in the mountains, those leaves are going to change. This weekend, like if you're going to, say, Asheville, heading up the Blue Ridge towards Boone, Boyne Rock, great viewing this weekend. That will last into next weekend as long as we get no storms with high wind.
But then they'll come off the trees.
But if you go Saturday, it'll be great.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there will be tens of thousands of other people going,
But
"Let's
I'm
go
not going to be
Saturday."
there this weekend, so you think it'll last till next week?
I think so. As long as there's no storms, you'll be okay next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be fine.
I need
Okay.
to see some pictures.
Pictures?
I feel like I haven't seen like all the colorful pictures.
Tomorrow
We got
is
some.
Friday, and we will see you in the morning.
Yes, we will.